This could be a major problem. Even though the Knicks were able to take down the Pelicans due to Jalen Brunson's brilliance and OG Anunoby's defense, the Knicks could be dealing with another major concern. During last night's game, you could see Anunoby's surgically repaired elbow. It was heavily wrapped. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications turned on. So anytime we drop new content, you get notified. And now, let's get started. OG Anunoby's elbow was heavily wrapped during last night's game against the New Orleans Pelicans. And in last night's game, even though the Knicks were able to come back in that second half due to Jalen Brunson, who scored 29 of his 39 points in that second half, the Knicks defense also came alive. We saw Mikal Bridges. We saw Preston Achua. We even saw Jericho Sims all step up and give you phenomenal defense. And that includes, of course, OG Anunoby, who continues to be a complete monster on the defensive end of the ball, getting into the passing lanes, causing turnovers, stealing the ball, driving the ball up, and finishing at the rim. OG Anunoby is the best two-way player on the Knicks roster right now, and it's not even close. But after looking at last night's game, I couldn't help but notice Anunoby was once again sporting that elbow wrap on his surgically repaired elbow. And once I saw that, guys, I can't lie, I was absolutely concerned. And I'm not the only one who noticed that. NBA insider with the New York Post, Steph Bondy, also noticed it as well too. I can't tell you the level of concern I had when I saw this. Our best defender and two-way player by far is OG Anunoby. And if he's injured in any way, it could be problematic. You can see it right there. Surgically repaired elbow has that wrap on it. Now, he is still shooting with the wrap. He's still playing with that wrap on, and he wasn't on the injury report. But you can see here, clearly Steph Bondy reported here, OG Anunoby is wearing a new wrap on his surgically repaired elbow, similar to the one he wore last season. This was my face after I found out that information. Could not believe my eyes. Obviously, you don't want to see OG Anunoby or any Knick deal with any injury. But for OG, our best defender, to be dealing with potentially another injury, but that injury to be on the same elbow he had surgery on last year, yeah, I'm a little concerned. It's also worth noting, and shout out to Bondy for giving us this information as well. This wrap that OG Anunoby is wearing, he wore it a couple of times very early on this season, but he hasn't worn it in a lot of games. But I believe he's not worn it for the last 20 plus games. So that's why it's a little bit more of a reason to be concerned. He didn't wear it last game. He hasn't worn it for a while now, but for some reason against the Pelicans, he had to put it back on. As mentioned, he was not on the injury report. In fact, I don't think Anunoby has missed any games for the Knicks this entire season. So he's been actually very durable for the Knicks this season. He even played 40 minutes last night in the win over the Pelicans. So clearly, he's not on any minutes restrictions. He can play the same amount of minutes. He can still play the same level of defense. So where is the issue with Anunoby? Well, he had 16 points last night, but he took 17 shots, 6 of 17 actually, in order to get those points. His offense, if you've been watching Anunoby for the last few games, has not looked right. And now we're seeing a wrap over his surgically repaired elbow. That leads me to believe that the reason his offense isn't looking as good as it was looking early on this season is because something is going on with that elbow. Now, maybe it's not something to the level that's going to make him miss games or cause him not to play that same level of defense, because clearly he's not missing games. He's not missing any minutes or time on the floor. He's still playing the same amount of minutes. And also that defense is still otherworldly. He's shutting down other players, locking down other players. If his elbow had any pain at all, he would likely not be able to make the same moves that he's making during games. But there's a reason he's wearing that wrap, right? There's some issue going on that's causing him to put it on. And I'm thinking the main reason for it is his offense. Shout out to Steph Bondy with the New York Post for giving us the following information. Up until a few weeks ago, Anunoby had been getting more opportunities with the ball and carry the two-way numbers of a potential all-star candidate. We guys got to remember that game against Denver. He was going off against them, doing everything that you wanted to see OG Anunoby do, playing two-way basketball, great defense, great offense. When he was doing that, I think we all believed in that moment we just saw a player become an all-star, and we're talking about OG Anunoby. But really, since that game, he's really cooled off. I'm not saying he hasn't had big games since then. He has, but not to the same level. And honestly, since then, he's had more games where he hasn't been as efficient on the offensive end. Defensively, always good. But his offense has been shaky as of late. Bondi acknowledges the fact that Anunoby has hit a dry spell with his shot, but he also acknowledges the fact that Mikal Bridges, who is a more dynamic and versatile scorer, started collecting more chances. There's only one ball, and it won't go to Anunoby if his shot isn't falling. And recently, his shot has not been falling. The fact of the matter is, he played 40 minutes last night against the Pelicans. So the fact that he played that many minutes, it actually eases my mind that that elbow is that much of a major concern. Odd, I know. Him playing a lot of minutes actually eases my concerns. But we do have to mention, he is playing a career high in minutes right now. More minutes than he's ever played before. Even though his conditioning looks like it's the best it's ever been in his entire career, we still have to look at those offensive numbers. Something has to explain that. And now that he's wearing a wrap again, I'm thinking that the reason the wrap is there is because his offense is becoming shaky because of some issue with that elbow. Not a major issue or a major concern that would lead him to stop playing games for New York, but enough of a reason for him to put on that wrap. As we get more information about Anunoby, his status, and why he's wearing that wrap, we'll put out more videos and more information so you guys get that info. But as of right now, there is nobody on this planet, nobody on the Knicks roster that can even come close to replicating or replacing OG Anunoby and his defense if he's out of the lineup. When he's playing for the Knicks, he is a game changer on defense. Him alone on defense makes this Knicks team different. We cannot lose him. So hopefully the Knicks can figure this out. It's not something significant, and hopefully he doesn't have to wear the wrap moving forward. The more games he doesn't have to wear this wrap, it's going to ease my concerns, and I know a lot of Knicks fans' concerns as well too. Nobody likes to see one of their best players dealing with some type of ailment. He was not wearing that wrap before, not for a lot of games, 20-plus games. Now, magically, he's wearing it again. Let's make sure our best defender, our best two-way player in OG Anunoby has no lingering concerns. If he needs to rest, take a few games off just to make sure that elbow is 100%, then let's do that for him. I have no problem with that. But if he's going to continue to play and have that wrap on that elbow, I'm going to continue to look at it and think of it as a concerning issue. I know he wore it early on in the season and it didn't cause any issue. But we are not just starting out now. We are past the quarter-way mark of this season, and now he's wearing that wrap again. Thankfully, due to the defense that we've seen Anunoby play, the way he's been scoring, the way he plays the passing lane, how aggressive he plays, and yes, the amount of minutes he played last night, it leads me to believe that the injury, if there even is one, is not significant. But the fact the wrap exists, it's something that we have to talk about and question, because you never want to see one of your best players dealing with some type of injury, especially an injury that he had to have surgery on last season. It's something to notice. But what about you guys? Are you just as concerned as I am after seeing Anunoby sporting that elbow wrap? Let me know in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.